Hi there, this is Cynthia again. Welcome to another tutorial. This one will be featuring EL wire, standard EL wire, and I am going to show what happens, what kind of effects are made when you cover something with tulle, because we want to be able to sew with this. Originally I had purchased the welted EL wire, and because I made a dress, so I wanted to embed it in the seam allowances, but it was very rigid and it sort of had a life of its own. So the standard EL wire is definitely a little bit less rigid, and of course it's still wire, but you can manipulate it a little bit more. So I wanted to come up with a way to use this to make some pillows without having to hand sew it all. So, and I'm going to shut the light off so we can see the wire. So this is red, so that's the flashy mode, and I'll shut the light off, see if we can appreciate the color more. Oh, that's neat. So that's like fast flash, slow flash, and then that's just the solid red. So I'll just keep it on that. It does make a beeping noise, the inverter, but you kind of hide it, and if there's enough noise in the room, you don't really notice as much. So I need to basically refabricate what they did with the welt. And so this is tulle. This stuff is generally found in petticoats, under dresses, to give it some body and some girth. It's pretty inexpensive. It's $1 to $3 a yard, and pretty easy to work with. It doesn't fray. You just cut it how you want it. So I've just kind of roughly cut a strip here, and so I'm going to show you. If you cover this, you barely notice it. I mean, it's actually kind of a cool effect. It subdues it just a tiny bit. And so the whole point of wrapping this and to create this kind of welt is so that I can sew it along the edges of a fabric to sandwich it in between seams so that I don't have to do it by hand. So I will do this on the machine, but I just want to show you right here. So that is wrapped around it very tightly, and then we would kind of lay this over. So anyways, just a couple more things about these materials. This obviously is the EL wire. I got this from Adafruit. It's 2.5 meters, so it works pretty well with almost no waste for a 20-inch pillow, which is what we're going to do, 20-inch square pillow. This is, I was trying to think what would be a nice pillow fabric. So you want something soft, and black looks nice with the red, or the Tron blue, or really any of the kind of the bright colors that they have. So this is actually silk velvet. It's from the 30s or 40s. I have a huge collection of fabric. This is obviously vintage, but it's really great. And it has a pile, but you can't notice it too much. So it's really exquisite fabric. So I thought that would be kind of a funny contrast to do something old and luxurious with this futuristic type of thing. So I'm going to stop this, and then I am going to set up my machine and bring it over and show you an example of how we'll do that, and then I will show you how to actually create the pillow with it. Okay, so I'm back here. So I'm at my sewing machine, and I'll just mention a couple things about what's going on here. So I have black thread coming from the top, and in the bobbin I've actually got a very dark green because I'll show you a little bit later, but I need to have a contrasting thread so that when I flip it over and sew again for the other side, I can see it, because we don't want to pierce this stuff. That would probably be bad. So we want to have a guide. So all right, so let me just pull up this this bobbin thread. And I have, I put on my attachment foot for, it's basically like a zipper attachment, because I want to be able to ride as close to the left as I can. Okay. So these are scraps, but it's supposed to kind of sort of represent the edges of a pillow or whatever you want to do. So what we want to do is, and not later I'm going to kind of cut all this stuff up because this is a little bit wide. You wouldn't really want to do a tulle this wide. It doesn't really matter, but it's nice to line everything up. So I like to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to try to duplicate that. So you can probably see that. So I wrapped it around and I'm laying it on top of the velvet. Now a lot of people have a hard time sewing with velvet because it has a pile and it tends to slip. So let me just move the needle over. 1, 2, okay. It tends to slip, so you really have to focus and pay attention and move slowly and pull this out. Okay, so it's down. So this has an edge which will ride against this piping, and probably as a guard this will prevent the needle from piercing into that that wire. So I'm just doing one side. Sometimes when I do home deck projects for pillows and cushions, I will actually sandwich the whole thing together and sew it all in one continuous motion, and then kind of put the zipper in and be done with it. But I really don't want to pierce this stuff, so we have to really look what we're doing here. Okay, so that's that. So that's in. So now what we're going to do, so you can see, you can almost see that, or I certainly can, the color on the other side. And now that comes into play. So I'm going to put, so now we have right sides together of the velvet. Put that over, and I'm going to flip it. Okay. So now I need to sandwich all of these pieces together, and that is my guide stitch. So I do not want to go this way of that line. I want to go pretty much right on top of it, and that will be the insurance that I need that the piece of wire doesn't get ruined. Okay, so that is it. As you can see, it's really just a jacket, so I can move this wire back and forth. Once all four sides, 4 edges are put together, you can't. So let me bring this over here. Actually, you know what? I can probably just, if it's dark enough, I want to show the light because it's really fun. Yay. So that is just, it's a beautiful seam. So it's all embedded. It was very easy. This stuff now is a lot less rigid than if you bought the welted EL wire, which coincidentally also comes in 5-meter lengths, not 2.5. So you would have to cut and do a little bit of labor so that you wouldn't just waste 2.5 meters. So that's really nice. So I'm going to stop this and then restart and show how to actually make the pillow and put the rest of the thing together.